Well, welcome back as we continue the series on the impact of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, otherwise known as the OBBBA. Today we're going to be talking about Social Security and taxes underneath that. And I say this with a little bit of a jest because this is the topic that has most of the confusion out there on the tax-free nature of Social Security. Now they started out, they being the politicians, of trying to make tax on Social Security tax-free. That was the promises that they made on both sides of the parties on trying to attempt to make Social Security tax-free. And they did try, but they didn't get very far because ultimately the mechanism that they used to get this bill passed didn't allow for them to be able to modify the trust, the Social Security trust and the related laws and acts that pertain to that. So what they tried to do was find a workaround in saying, okay, well, if we can't make Social Security tax-free, we're going to give an increased standard deduction for seniors, which I certainly will take, and I don't not like this. So what does it mean? That if you're over 65, so 65 years and above, for the tax years 25 through 28, so caveat, not permanent and also retroactive, so it's effective this year, but just for 4 years here. If you're over 65, you get $6,000 per individual. So if you're married filing jointly, you get $12,000 for that for this year of an additional deduction. Again, they're trying to make Social Security tax-free. In a roundabout way, they're getting close. So let's say you had $24,000 of Social Security that ended up being taxed. You're getting $12,000. Part of it's tax-free now. So it's a little bit of a help. Unfortunately, this part of the bill is just a little bit lackluster, if you ask me. One is they didn't fully get back to the tax-free nature of what they said they were going to do. It's still as complicated and still as confusing as ever, if not more complicated. And further, this, of all of the items, phases out the fastest. So if you're an individual, it phases out at $75,000. If you're married filing jointly, it phases out at $150,000 or starts phasing out. So what does that mean? Well, in theory, if you're making $150,000, this $12,000 goes away. If you're making less than that, you're probably in a lower tax bracket anyway, and it's really not as big of an impact as you thought it was to begin with. Further, in my opinion, it adds more complexity because now all of the other planning that we might be doing, it's going to start impacting on that. So let's say you're not going to phase out, but all of a sudden we try to accelerate some income by doing maybe a Roth IRA or a conversion. That makes that less appealing because now all of a sudden if we do the Roth conversion, this credit goes down. And so the cost of doing these Roth conversions or the cost of actually accelerating some of our income to take advantage of some of these lower tax brackets, the benefit goes down. And so it's actually a little bit of a give and take, if you will, if you ask me. Ultimately, what it tells me is that there is going to be some planning that comes involved with this. Now, I would tell you that they have stated, I have not proved this, I have not vetted this, but they state that this will eliminate the taxable nature of Social Security for roughly 88% of seniors. That's possible. I'm not going to disagree with it. I'll tell you, I'm not as excited about it as that percentage, and I would actually imagine that most of my clients are not going to feel that. So if you're listening to this video, chances are that you're probably not going to feel it quite as much. But there are many of you that will, and so it's a good thing, and I would take advantage of it if you can. So who benefits from this the most? Well, obviously you have to be 65 or older to benefit, so anyone over 65 is going to benefit. Really who it benefits is over 65 that are in a low to moderate income, which, as I just stated, they state is 85 or 88% of Americans receiving Social Security. So if that's true, then so be it. That's who's going to get it. You've got to be able to manage your income sources, though. That's the key. So you're going to have to watch when you take out your income. So if you're, for example, you want to pull from your retirement account to get a car this year, or you want to take a vacation, well, all of a sudden that now has to be considered into potentially having a significant cost to you comparatively not doing it. So managing your income sources is going to be crucial in retirement. It's there already, right? If you're on the fixed income, you should be watching it to begin with, but it's becoming more important and more crucial now, even more than ever. Who's going to see less benefit? Well, if your modified AGI is greater than the phase-out limits, you're probably not going to feel that much benefit. It's going to be one of those things that, as I'm calling it, they're going to give it to you and you're going to take it away. You just got to know that. You just got to be aware that that's likely going to happen for many individuals. Perhaps one of the biggest things to know is that this is just temporary. It expires in 2028. And so if you do have this and you are benefiting from it, fantastic. But this is one of those that I'm telling you, if we get it, great. I'm not going to certainly turn it down, but for all the hype and hoopla that they projected and presented about this, this was a little bit of a letdown. So we're going to take it because it's there, but if we don't get it, then so be it. Well, thank you for joining us. And in our next video, we're going to be talking about the SALT, or the state and local tax adjustment, which, kind of like the senior deduction, I'm calling it kind of a give back and take away, because it has a similar feel and a similar impact of, it sounds like a lot of noise and a lot of media, but it doesn't really amount to too much. If it does apply and we can take advantage of it, fantastic. If we can't, so be it. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.